Alrighty, so in celebration of a 1.19 snapshot finally releasing and the Warden being part of the game now, I thought that it'd be a good idea to look back and see how far Minecraft has come over the years. Starting all the way back in 1.0 and gradually progressing to the current 1.19 snapshot, with the game version updating every hour or so. And the builds that we end up making throughout these 100 days, I think they come out looking pretty good, so be sure to stick around till the end of the video. But real quick before this video starts, would you like to change your Minecraft from looking like this to this? And travel a beautiful landscape with over 800 Pokemons? You can even choose from a plethora of different outfits and be a character from your favourite anime show. Take a dive with your new costume into the oceans and swim with wild Pokemons. And fight this 15-foot Pokemon with your friends or clan, or join the musical chairs event that's fully run on the endgame voice chat system. Everything is included in this launcher for free. Check it out in the link in the description, and I'll see you there. Ooh, also, when you join the server, alright, you use /poppers and you get this very cool backpack right here. But don't let anybody know I told you. On with the video. So kicking things off on day 1 with the 1.0 update. This was considered the official launch of Minecraft that also added brewing stands, enchants, the end, and animal breeding, but most importantly for us, hardcore mode. So we begin our journey in this very dated version of the game in the exact same way as we do now, by grabbing some wood to craft ourselves some very rudimentary tools that I then immediately put to use to grab some slightly less crappy tools, and then begin gathering wood and killing a few cows during the process. After chopping down a decent amount of wood and now being stacked, I turned around to see a very old looking village right behind me, so I headed over to it and killed another cow on my way over there. Once I arrived at the village, the first thing I saw was a really cool mountain off in the distance. This is a very prime example of old world generation. It looks really good. And I also found a blacksmith, and well, just take a look at all this amazing loot I got. I guess they didn't have chests this far back in the game, but it's fine. I went and stole some books from the village libraries, and I began making my way over to the cool mountains to set up camp over there. But when I got over there, I was quickly attacked by a spider that I dealt with, but then shortly after attacked by a zombie and a skelly and another spider, so I quickly noped out of there because that was no place for me to be right now. So I killed the second spider and made myself some bread that I stole from the village, and after getting my hunger back, I began heading over to a little area near the mountains, when I found an even cooler looking place. So I decided I would live here instead. While setting up a very basic shack, it was getting dark fast, so I made myself some doors, smelted down some wood into charcoal, and boom! Just like that, we are safe in this terrible looking shed that I built. So I decided, with it being night, I'd be productive and decided to start a mine, but after mining basically all night, all I found was a big vein of coal, so it really wasn't eventful. However, by the sunrise of our second day, I was back up in the shack, ready to run outside and make myself a wheat farm, because I knew that this steak that I had would only last so long, and I wanted to get a renewable food source ASAP. So I got to work on planting down all my seeds near the water, and then headed back home to make a chest to store all my crap in there for later. After storing my stuff away, I headed back down into the mines to hopefully find myself a cave to actually start gearing up so that I could move out of this awful looking shack as soon as possible. Anyways, whilst I was running back down the mine, I heard a skelly close by, so I mined around until I found a cave with a load of them in it, that I then quickly dispatched and started exploring the cave, and one skelly and a zombie later, we finally have our first bit of iron, quickly followed by another skelly and some more iron. Now, this wasn't a big cave, so I just went around lighting everything up, and after emptying the cave of mobs and iron, I headed back to my house to start smelting it all down. After my iron was done, I upgraded my tools and headed out to chop down a tree in hopes of getting some saplings. And well, I grabbed the saplings, planted them down, and it was getting dark, so I headed back down the mine in search of more iron and another cave. And well, I've found some gold, but I'm not going to lie to you, at this point in the game, it is absolutely useless. But later on, it will be extremely useful, so I'll grab it anyway. Anyways, after grabbing the gold, I ended up finding a little bit more iron and some redstone, and then began strip mining at Y11 because I had absolutely nothing better to do. And yet again, I heard some mobs near me, so I went to check it out, and sure enough, there was another cave, but there was no way I was going in a place like that, with that many mobs, without any armor. So I went back to my rickety old shack and smelted down all the iron that I found down there. And by the morning of day 3, all my iron was smelted down, so I decided to make myself an iron chestplate and some iron leggings, and then store away some of my stuff, and head back down into the cave that I now had some defense to actually go in there, and see what it had to offer. And, well, this cave was really good to me. I found iron ore after iron ore after iron ore with some gold and redstone sprinkled in there. However, this was a very, very small cave, and, well, I don't know what it is with this version of the game and tiny caves, but it's annoying, okay? Just let me explore caves, damn it. Anyways, after grabbing my loot from the cave, I headed up and began smelting it all down, and, well, whilst the furnace was doing its thing, I headed out to the nearest forest to grab some wood, because I wanted to start work on my actual house soon, and, well, there's no trees where I currently reside, so I had to go to a forest. Anyways, once I got to the forest, I spotted myself some sugarcane and some sheep, so I grabbed it and killed them, and now we can make a bed. After getting my wood, I headed home with a whole 25 iron smelted down, so I made the final 2 pieces of armor and a shovel, and finally made myself a bed, but we really need a bigger house because I literally have no space in this place anymore, okay? Anyways, I planted down my sugarcane and went to bed. And on day 4, I began work on expanding the house into a more spacious, better looking home, and, well, it really didn't take me that long. Now, the actual good looking house will come later, but for that I need some more blocks and better features to play around with, but for the meantime, this'll do. And by the way, my plan for this, like 100 days, is to transform this entire area where I am right now into like a really cool paradise between the mountains. I don't know how it'll turn out, but yeah, anyways, after I was done with the house, I placed down my bed and went to sleep. And, well, when we woke up on day 5, things looked a little bit different because they were. We were no longer in 1.0. We are now in 1.2. That added zombie sieges, jungle biomes, abandoned mines, iron golems, and maybe the best feature in the game to this day, desert wells. So, some pretty cool stuff, but there's not really much for me to actually do, except, like, maybe find a mineshaft. Anyways, I got into a fight with a creeper and then tried luring some chickens back to my house, but apparently seeds don't work yet, so I tried some wheat and, well, it worked out. Oh, and I also stumbled across this big cave, so we shall check that out later. But for now, I made the chickens a hole in the mountain so that they can stay in there. But when I turned around to lure them in, apparently they turned into ocelots because there was just a whole bunch of those running around now. It took me a minute to process it, but then I realized that it must have generated a jungle biome right next to my house, so that's kind of cool, I guess. Anyways, I lured my chickens into their new home and began work on adding some stairs to the mine to make it easier to get up and down without bashing my head every single step, because it's super annoying. Anyways, I did get a bit of iron from it, so I guess it was worth it. Once I was done with the mine, I went around cleaning up some of the land around my house and farm just to make things look a little bit neater and easy to navigate. Anyways, after finishing up my landscaping, it was getting quite dark, so I placed down a couple of torches and went to bed. And on day 6, it was time to start looking for some diamonds, and I know it's still very early days, but the sooner I can get OP stuff, the bigger and better builds I can do, and the easier it is to kill the Warden. Anyways, I headed over to the big cave that I saw when I was bringing the chickens over, and I mined my way down into the unknown. And, well, I immediately was greeted by a creeper, so I guess that shows how things are going to go down here. Also, there was a lot of iron in this cave, but that's not why I'm down here, okay? I want diamonds, okay? None of this lowly ore, okay? I want diamonds. Anyways, the deeper and deeper I went, the more mobs I faced and the more iron I found. And I really don't know what was up this cave. There was so much iron. But after a while of exploring and killing mobs, we were starting to get pretty deep, so I was keeping an eye out for that blue ore. And, I mean, I found some blue stuff, but it was lapis, and, well, just listen to this cave I was in while I was mining this lapis, okay? There were so many mobs. And on top of that, look at how much lava was here. I decided that if diamonds were going to be anywhere, they were going to be over there. So I had to fight off a bunch of mobs and continued through the never-ending caves and caverns until I stumbled upon a zombie spawner. And, well, the loot was pretty decent, and I did get some iron and some cocoa beans, as well as a couple saddles. So, I mean, at least it was some pretty good loot, I guess. Anyways, after finding the spawner, I'd been underground for quite a while, so I decided to call it a day and admit defeat with the diamonds and run home for now, and I was also out of food, so I didn't want to risk taking too much damage down there. By the time I arrived back at the surface, night had fallen and there were mobs all around, so I sprinted home and went to bed. And on the morning of day 7, I woke up and started smelting down all of my golden iron and decided that whilst they were smelting, I'd actually go and take the time to sort out all my storage because, well, the longer I left it, the worse it was going to get. Oh, and I also realized that one of the skelly boys I killed down in the mine dropped a bow, so now I have a bow, I guess. Anyways, one fight with a creeper later and the storage was sorted, so I took the bones that I got from killing many a skelly and put them to use on the farm, so that I could actually get some food, considering that I had none left. So, after a while of growing and harvesting all my wheat, I actually decided to move the farm to the other side of the river, because I thought it'd look better over there in the long run, and it adds more space, and there's more ways to progress it further. It's just a better place, I think. But after moving the farm, I made my bread and used the leftover wheat to breed the chickens and make some more progress on landscaping around the house. and when it got dark, I'd made some pretty good progress, so I headed back home, took my iron and gold out of the furnace, stored them away, and once again, went to bed. On day 8, I got up and made 2 more furnaces because I was going to start smelting down all my cobblestone into stone to then craft into stone bricks to use when I wanted to upgrade the house. So, whilst the stone was smelting down, I headed back over to the big spooky cave to grab some more coal because I was running pretty low. Some coal mining later, and I returned home to restock the furnaces, the grills with coal and craft my stone bricks and stone brick stairs that I then tried placing upside down but couldn't, so I guess the house upgrade will have to wait until a later update where they actually add that feature. Anyways, I went and made the chickens' home a little bit nicer by adding some wood on the walls and roof just so they were a little bit happier and it wasn't so bad to look at. Mainly the latter. But one coop upgrade later, it was getting dark, so I headed on to bed. And on day 9, we once again woke up to another update. This time, we're in 1.3, that added trading, jungle and desert temples, emeralds, better enchanting, and some adjustments to creepers. So overall, a pretty useful update, and I wouldn't mind finding a temple. But I need to be careful how far I explore in this world, because I need to easily generate new chunks for the later updates, because it gets harder the further you go out. Anyways, I had the big brain idea and decided to start going out exploring in one single direction. That way, I wouldn't generate too many chunks, and it wouldn't be hard to generate new ones by just simply going in a different direction. Oh, and by the way, I was going out in search of a temple because, well, I thought they'd be nice to find, and I haven't really left my area since, like, day 3 or something, so it's nice to get out of the house once in a while. Anyways, I was making my way around, and I found that there was different types of wood now, so that's nice to know. After a little while of walking later and passing through a snow biome, I eventually found a desert and, well, went in search of a temple. And I'm telling you now, I explored so much of this desert and didn't find a single thing. However, I did find another spawner, and, well, it was on the surface, and it does kind of remind me of how much I do miss some of the old generation things. Anyway, the loot really wasn't great, so I left and began making my way back out of the desert. Once I got back to the tundra, I spotted some cows that I then swiftly killed for their leather, of which I got 1. I got 1 leather from all those cows. After that, I chopped down a couple of spruce trees to get some saplings, and then headed back home, and, well, it was getting dark, so you know what I did? That's right, I stored my stuff away, and I went to bed. Alrighty, so days 10 and 11, I headed back down my original mine and began strip mining for diamonds, and I told myself, you cannot leave here until you find at least 1 diamond. So I mined and mined and mined until I heard yet another skeleton in the walls, so I mined around looking for the cave it was in, and, well, I found it, but almost got blown up. Then I realized that I was just way too high to find diamonds, so I headed back to my original mine, and, well, something close to eternity must have passed me by, because I just zoned out and mindlessly mined around. And, well, I ended up finding lapis, but no diamonds yet, and, well, I've been down here a good while, so more branch mining later, and I finally struck gold. Well, I mean, it was diamonds, but either way, I found diamonds. And I got 5, so, you know, I'll take it. You know, they're literally non-existent in this version of the game anyway, so I'll take the 5 I've got. Anyways, after getting my diamonds, I ran through my endless mines back to my house, and finally made myself a diamond pick. Then I went round and planted the 30 sugarcane I had in my inventory because, well, it was bothering me. Anyways, 1 sugarcane forest later, and I went to check if stairs could be placed upside down yet, and, well, they could, so I know what I'm doing tomorrow. Anyways, I spent the rest of the day just smelting down more stone to use on the house upgrade tomorrow. Oh yeah, and I chopped down some trees at the night as well. God, I love 1 grow bone meal. It was so good. Please add it back. Anyway, so on day 12, I got to work on tearing down the house as soon as I got up. And yeah, I'm not going for a massive house build, but something that'll look nice, surrounded by flowers and grass and cool stuff later. So yeah, I spent the day tirelessly building the new house that was a little bit bigger than I was expecting. So I had to like do some landscaping, but that's okay. It was a little bit too big to get finished in one day. But that's fine, okay? We have all the time we need to make it come out as good as we possibly can. But trust me, okay, by the end of this video, this house is going to look really, really nice. When I woke up on day 13, things had changed once again, and we were now in 1.4. The first named update of the game, the Pretty Scary update. They added witches, zombie villagers, bats, wither skellies, and the wither. Ooh, spooky. Anyways, I made some more progress on the house throughout all of the day and into the night until it started to rain when I went to bed because it was really bloody loud. Okay, day 14, I woke up and I decided to take a break from house building today, and instead I headed down to the mine to grab some obsidian for a nether portal and an enchantment table, so that building things would become a lot faster. Anyways, I got to the lava pool, placed down my water bucket, and began mining the obsidian. And, well, about 10 years and arthritis in my hands later, and I was finally done with gathering the obby, and headed back home to make the enchantment table, followed by as many bookshelves as I could possibly make, and then I went and placed it all down just at the side of my house. I'll decorate it later, but I just don't have the decorational blocks right now. Oh, and I also went to enchant, but I was 3 shelves off, so I just decided to wait until later, and went and made some more progress on the house for the rest of the day, into the night, and all the way until the morning of day 15. When I had the roof and most of the interior done now, and well, all I have to do is wait to be able to strip the wood to make things look really good. Anyways, after having the house basically done, I began work on making some paths to connect all my areas together, and well, after a while of doing the paths, I got jump scared by the really loud rain again, as well as getting attacked by a skelly. So yeah, I finished on my paths for now, added some cobble walls around them, and then moved the rest of my items into my house and called it a day. I just cannot work outside or anything with it with that rain. It is way too loud and I can't turn it down. Ah, day 16. A lovely, not rainy, very quiet, very dry, very peaceful day. I decided to go and tend to my farm because it looked ready to harvest and I was somewhat low on food, so I may as well. After once again gathering up and replanting all my wheat, I made a load of bread and then set out back down the mines in hopes of finding more diamonds, but also to get some XP to start enchanting too. So, mine I did, until I found another lava pool, but it was absolutely, there's nothing in it, okay? There's nothing in it. I don't know what it is with this world and diamonds, but it really doesn't want to give me them. Hey, would you look at that? It's another lava pool full of disappointment. So at this point, I'd had enough, so I returned home and, well, ended up getting jumped by 3 spiders in my own house, but I got back up and I called it a day. Okay, day 17, another update. This time, 1.5. It's a lot of redstone, but I'm nowhere near qualified to be touching that stuff, so we don't really need to cover it, just know that there's a lot of redstone that was added. And hopefully it was going to be a better day today, so I immediately went and harvested my sugarcane to craft into more paper, to craft into more books, to then craft into some more bookshelves to upgrade my enchantment table. Then I proceeded to enchant my pickaxe, and well, I got a very nice enchant, and I had Fortune 2. So now the next time I find diamonds, hopefully we get a decent amount more. Oh, and my enchantment table took all 30 levels from me because this is old style enchanting, but it's okay, I didn't want those levels anyway. Anyways, next up I decided to go back down into the mine and put this newly enchanted pickaxe to use. And well, after only a few minutes of mining, I actually found some more diamonds, and now we had 8, followed by even more, and now we have 17. And then I mined for a little bit longer, finding only 3 more diamonds, but that's okay, because I headed back to the surface to craft some stuff with them. I made myself a chest plate, some leggings, a sword, and some booties too, and now we were looking pretty fresh, and I was feeling pretty good about not dying in the near future, so I stored my crap away and went to bed. And on day 18, I got to work on adding some things around our little area. First off, I went and smelted down more stone into stone bricks, and then made myself a nether portal on its own little rocky hill kind of thing, because I thought it would look cool. Now, I know it doesn't look amazing right now, but just wait till I've cleared up the area around it and made some more decoration blocks, and we've gone through a few updates, but it'll look good. Anyways, I needed more obsidian to complete the portal because it was quite a big one, so I ran back down into the mines to grab some, and then by the time I came up and placed it down, it was pretty dark, so I just placed down my obby and headed to bed. Alrighty, so on days 19 and 20, I had a nether portal, but I don't really want to go in there until later because it really isn't much use for you until 1.16. So instead, I used my time doing a lot more landscaping. I added 2 more paths connecting the soon-to-be portal and farm together, and then I moved my sugarcane up on the hill in front of my house, and well, it looked pretty good. I also did make some changes to the farm and the enchantment area, but they weren't really major. But other than that, we had some quite productive couple of days right here. Very good. But now, finally, on day 21, I finally had access to Optifine, shaders, and replay mod because we're now in 1.9. Quite possibly the most controversial update of them all, the combat update. And, well, this update was quite self-explanatory. It changed combat. It added a cooldown between attacks so you could no longer effectively spam click and kill things. And this is where axes became OP. Also, the elytras and shields were now a thing. But most importantly for us in this video are the shaders and cinematic shots, because I know my audience and they love cinematic shots. So with that being said, let's continue. So starting out on day 21, I immediately made myself a shield because, well, I'm not an idiot. But when I went outside, I noticed that my chickens had sadly despawned. I don't know why, because maybe the game updated, I don't know, but they were there yesterday. Anyways, I went out in search of a jungle that I saw earlier because I wanted to start getting some vines to craft into mossy cobble to use later as decoration for like around my enchant table or any natural areas that I build later on. But I ended up finding a swamp instead, but hey, that works. Anyways, I grabbed a load of vines and then headed back home, but I decided to stop off in this forest to stock up on wood because I really didn't have much left. After grabbing enough wood, I returned home and stored away all the items I got from the swamp and then proceeded to make myself a friend. It's an iron golem named Gaston's because, well, I was getting quite lonely without the chickens, so he'll be their replacement. Granted, he's a lot more useful, but anyways, I decided to go mining for the night, and by the morning of day 22, I'd got myself a few more diamonds, so I made myself a diamond axe, a shovel, and a last piece of armor. Now, after returning from the mines, I decided that I should probably make a building dedicated to storage for two reasons. Number one, to have everything nicely in order and a new space dedicated to it, and for number two, it's gonna look nice, so why not? Anyways, I got to work on the storage area. It was going to be like a circular design thing with a door in the middle and loads of storage inside. After working on it all day and night, I made some pretty good progress and it was almost ready. So on the following day, I continued building until finally, on day 24, I added some finishing touches and boom. We now have a pretty nice looking storage area for all my very organized crap. So I spent the rest of the day sorting out and organizing all my storage into its new home. Okay, day 25. Let's take a break from building and instead let's go out and look for some cows to start breeding them because I really need leather to make, into item frames so that I actually know what's in my chest. After being out looking for a while, I did end up stumbling across some in the forest near my house. So I started cow-napping them and bringing them back home. And when I got back home, I crammed them in the previously used chicken pen but added a few adjustments for these big boys. And then I fed them and we had our first baby cow. So after dealing with the cows, I realized that I didn't really have any bread left, so I tended to the farm and got myself and the cows some more food and then went to bed. And on the morning of day 26, I started making some adjustments to the farm because it still looked kind of crappy and, well, I really needed to go in search of a flower biome to really start making this place look good. But I'll do that tomorrow, okay? Today is about making the land around the farm look better. Anyways, by the end of the day, I think I made it look a little bit better. I don't know, I really struggle with this type of natural building, but it doesn't look terrible. I don't know. Anyways, on days 27 and 28, I set out in search of a flower biome so that I can really start making my area look nice and homely. So I continued making my way down in the straight line that I started earlier, past the desert, and picking up every single flower I saw along the way. And, well, after a while of traveling, I approached an ocean and decided to cross it. So I made a boat, I hopped in, and I set sail for hopefully new flowery lands. And after sailing for quite a while, I did get some semblance of hope when I stumbled across this mini flower island biome thingy that I ran over and grabbed all the flowers on, but this wasn't enough, so the search continued. Oh, and there was also some sheep on these islands that were very welcoming to me, so I met that kindness with death. Okay, don't judge me, I need food and it would be nice to make a bed out here. Anyways, after that incident, I set sail once again deep into the night when I saw a pink flower off in the distance, followed by a couple more flowers. So I quickly beached my boat and made a bed from the remains of the sheep and went to sleep. Mainly to avoid all the ghouls that were on the island at this time of night. And once I got up on the next day, I went around gathering all the flowers that I could find until these islands were barren, and there were also like a lot of cows on these islands, but they all like suddenly just like disappeared. Very strange. This always happens when I'm around things. I don't know why. Anyways, I gathered my stuff up and I began the long and tedious journey back home. By the time I got back home, it was very late, so I ran in the house and went straight to bed. And now, on day 29, I got to work on planting down all my flowers everywhere around my house and area, and, well, everywhere, until I placed them all down, and, well, just look at this place now. It's so much nicer. Oh, and I also moved the enchantment table into the storage area now, so it's kind of like a storage/enchant area. And I also started work on the layout of a little water fountain circle thingy, because why not? Alrighty, day 30. It's that time again. It's time for another update, this time 1.11. And here's where things start getting a little bit crazy with the additions, because now we have evokers, vex, vindicators, as well as totems of undying, and obviously woodland mansions. Oh, also ruined nether portals are a thing now, so yeah. So with all that in mind, I decided to go mining. Why did you decide to go mining, you ask? Well, I wanted XP and really didn't want to make an XP farm. So I decided to head into the nether for no other reason than to mine quartz and get XP. And also, another reason I didn't want to make a mob farm is because they all look like eyesores, and I really didn't want to ruin the lovely landscape of my area. Anyways, after being in the Nether for most of the day, I ended up with enough XP to enchant twice, and enough quartz to last a lifetime. So, I went and enchanted my sword, which was absolutely terrible. And then my chest plate was decent, and then I also ended up enchanting an axe, but that was also very meh. Anyways, I ended up spending all night landscaping around my area and also made an anvil to repair all my diamond tools. And on the following days, I actually caved in and decided to build a mob farm because I really needed bones for expanding my actual farm to make it easier for villager trading later on. So yeah, I spent an entire day mining and smelting down cobble into stone bricks until I had enough to start building the farm. And oof, let me tell you, it's a good thing I've been mining redstone along the way because this farm took up quite a lot of it. But anyway, I made it 10 layers high, so it should be very efficient, and finally, by the end of day 34, the farm was finally done, so I sat on top of it to test it out for the night. On day 35, I went down to check on how well the farm had worked, and, well, just look at all this stuff I got from maybe like 8 to 10 minutes of AFKing, however long a Minecraft night is. But yeah, this thing's good. This thing's good. I took all the bones from the chest, alright, I broke them down into bone meal, and I got to work on expanding the wheat farm to accommodate for all the trading that I'll be doing later on. So I worked into the evening and deep into the night expanding the farm, and well, I made some pretty good progress and headed to bed. And on day 36, I started work on building my circular fountain area. I don't really know what to call it, but yeah, I built it up, and I built up a little water feature, but then I thought to myself that it would look good with some glowstone in there. So I headed back into the Nether and grabbed a little bit, but almost died to a ghast. Pretty scary times. Anyways, after that, I returned home, and boom, I think it came out looking pretty nice. Anyways, after finishing the water fountain, I made more roses and went around adding more flowers and decorations around my area, and, well, just take a look at how nice it looks now. Alrighty, so on day 37, after having quite a few busy days, I decided to chill out and make myself a new mine, considering that my old one looked really bad and it was under my house, so it was hard to get to. Anyways, I got some wood, made a little entrance, and got to work on mining the rest of the way down to bedrock, and then began a new series of strip mines, but these ones were going to be bigger and better. And yeah, I know how close it is to my old tunnels. The only reason that I want a better mine, other than aesthetics, is because for when we hit 1.18 and everything gets deeper, I wanted to be able to have a little base of operations thing down here for when, like, the bigger caves came in and I could go down and mine easier. I don't know. Anyways, I ended up finding a few diamonds down here in the process and headed back to the surface on the morning of day 38. And decided that I was going to go and return to the village and start up a little trading hall / villager breeder to get myself even more of a head start on getting good trades once 1.14 comes around. Wow, I haven't been here since day 1 because, well, I didn't really have a reason to because old trading sucks and I didn't want any of the villagers to die via zombie attack. Anyways, I got to work on building them a lovely new structure in which I'll spend the rest of eternity working for me 24/7, 365. And, well, I think this little trading hall came out looking kind of good, I'm not gonna lie. Now, I still need to add, like, the job items, but obviously I can't yet because they don't exist in the game, but either way, I think it's ready for the most part, so now it's time to go and add the villagers. And to be fair, they were quite easy to move, they were very, very compliant villagers, so I added 2 in trading rooms and I put 2 in a room at the back that I'll use to breed them later. And boom, just like that, the villager trading hall / villager breeder is now done. So I headed back home to return later. Once I got back, I grabbed some clay from the river and made some flower pots and then went to bed. I'm not gonna lie, I never use these flower pots. And on day 40, we come into 1.13 and, well, now we're in my most despised update, the update Aquatic, which, well, this added the worst things in this blocky plane of existence, okay? This added guardians, this added elder guardians, and ocean monuments. I just feel sick talking about them. They're awful. But they still aren't as bad as the phantoms that were also added in this update, so, yeah. But on a slightly less bad note, drowns and dolphins were added, so that they're not that bad. But because I hate this update so much, welcome to 1.14, one of my favourite updates, the Village and Pillage update. That added updated versions of all villagers, as well as having a much more in-depth trading system of the villagers, and maybe the best feature of all, foxes. Foxes are here, just look at him, he's so cute! As well as an absolute ton of really useful blocks, and this overgrown dog thing was added as well. Ugh. Anyways, I finally added the finishing touches to my house and built it the way it was supposed to be built all those updates ago, with stripped logs and trapdoors instead of planks and slabs, and I also went around placing lanterns around my house and area just to make things look a little bit more modern, and I also added some campfires too because they look really nice and I always forget to use them. Anyways, things were looking really nice now, and I went to bed. On day 41, after dealing with the house, I made myself a lectern and a composter, and then headed back over to the village to begin trading with these now very, very useful boys. Anyways, after setting up a few trades and breaking and replacing the lectern for God knows how many times, I finally got a mending trade that was pretty cheap. However, I was too poor, so I raided the village of its wheat and sold it back to them for profit, and boom, mending time. Oh, also, really quick, it's weird to think about how old this pickaxe actually is in terms of how far, like how many versions of the game it's seen. It's really weird. Anyways, I returned home and used the string from the mob farm to make some wool and make some beds for the villagers so that I could get more of them. And then on the topic of beds, I went to bed calling it a day. As soon as I woke up on the next day, I added mending to my pickaxe and ran back over to the village to start breeding the villagers. After setting them up, I used all my bones on bone meal and on wheat and started trading more and more with this lovely farm boy. He was being very generous. Anyways, after trading for as much as I could for the day, I grabbed another mending book and headed back home and began work on a semi-big project. You see, I didn't want to have to keep scaling the mountains every time I wanted to go to and from the village, so I started work on a little cobble, gravel, flowery path thing all the way along to the village, and well, this thing took me like 5 days to complete, which I think was worth it for how nice it turned out. Anyways, first off, I needed a lot of gravel, so I went and grabbed that, and then I needed to go around planning out where the path was actually going to go, and then I had to wait to get some more bone meal and more rose bushes, so yeah, I also did some trading during this time to take advantage of their 2 refreshes per day. But finally, by day 47, the path was done and it was looking pretty good. I just never want to see another rose bush again, like there were so many of them. Moving on to the next couple days, I ended up with a nice amount of emeralds for the previous 5 days of casuals trading, so I put them to use using my lovely new path to get over to the village. And once I got over there, the villagers had bread now, so we got ourselves a lovely 5th villager. Oh, and I also traded for 2 more mending books and then returned home to start work on gathering more wheat and sugarcane because the villagers were now my #1 source of XP and, well, the main way I'm going to enchant the rest of my stuff. So I grabbed the leftover bones from the mob farm and got to work on harvesting and regrowing all of my wheat for a whole day and night until the evening of day 49 when I returned to the village to cash in on all of my hard work, getting a pretty nice amount of XP. Ooh, I also made our new villager a stone cutting boy for clay and to emerald trades because, you know, more XP. But whilst waiting to get our villager into his trading cell, I noticed that we have yet another villager, so that's good to know. Anyways, I got him in and I traded for more XP and actually ended up spending the night in there with the villagers. And then when I woke on day 50, we were in 1.15 that had bees. That's literally about it. This was the bee update. There was a load of bees. It was literally the only thing they added, except maybe some bug fixes. Just bees, okay? Bees. So I knew what I was going to do. Anyways, I headed back home and began work on getting a beehive to spawn, which if you didn't know how to do, you can do it by growing a tree next to a flower. So after a while of growing and chopping down trees, I had absolutely no luck and it got dark. So I headed to bed and continued trying in the morning. And well, after a while, I finally got a beehive to spawn. So I immediately started work on clearing out like half of a freaking mountain to build them a lovely little area to buzz around happily. And I worked tirelessly through the night and into the morning of day 53, and the area was finally done, and I think it looked pretty nice, with like arches and flowers and stuff. Now I will add some azaleas and stuff later, but they don't really exist right now, so there's not much I can do. Anyways, after the success of the bee farm, I headed over to the bottom of the mob spawner and made it look a little bit nicer by tidying it up a bit because, well, it was like the only area that hadn't had like a glow up yet, except maybe the nether portal. And on day 54, I awoke to pillagers invading my lovely peaceful land, so I quickly dispatched them, but I was definitely not ready to start a raid on a village yet. I mean, I barely had 1 piece of armor enchanted, so I downed a bucket of milk and peace was restored in the valley. Anyways, I had a quick trip to the village to finish trading all my wheat and ended up getting level 30, so I returned home and re-enchanted my sword because Knockback 2 was not it. But what I got after was really not any better. Disappointing enchants aside, I spent the night working on the nether portal because, well, I really wasn't happy with the current frame and, well, by morning I think it was looking a little bit better. And on the morning of day 55, I added mending to my chestplate and sword because I was sick of carrying the books around with me. And then I decided to go on a mass clay gathering spree, because now I had a clay trade villager who really needed to start pulling his weight. Oh, also I found some cool looking mountains whilst out gathering clay, so that was pretty cool to find. Anyways, back to mining clay all night. Also, you may be wondering why I'm staying up all night recently, and it's pretty simple. I need phantoms to spawn so I can kill them for their membranes that I can then use later to make slow falling potions to fight the dragon. See? Pretty good idea. But anyways, they aren't here yet, so yeah, on the morning of day 56, I had a lot of clay. So I ran back to the village and traded with the clay boy for 2 days, because he runs out of stock really fast. But in those 2 days, I did end up stacking up on a lot of emeralds and XP. And I also did trade with other villagers too, but mainly the clay boys, and because I had so much of it, I made a second one. Anyways, after trading for ages, I went and put my XP to good use by enchanting the rest of my gear, and well, I got some pretty okay enchants. And then after that, I kind of AFK'd all night and forgot about looking out for phantoms, so I really don't know if they spawned. Okay, so on day 59, I decided that I was going to start preparing for 1.16 by making a lot of TNT to help me find Netherite. So I went and grabbed a lot of sand from the desert, considering that I literally have stacks of gunpowder in the mob farm. After grabbing enough sand, I went and made the TNT and went around organizing all my storage because it got kind of messy over the past few days. But the sun was going down, so I sat up all night again, and hey, would you look at that? It's phantoms. I never thought I'd be happy to see them, but yeah, after killing them and grabbing their membranes, I went to bed. Okay, day 60, it's time for things to start getting serious now. Alright, we've come a long way, but we're really only just getting started. So let's get ourselves some netherite, because we're now in 1.16 with the massive nether overhaul, adding 4 brand new biomes that look amazing, as well as piglins to trade with, so they're kind of cool. But unfortunately, these hoggy boys got added into the game, and well, it's okay though, because netherite is a thing, and look at this beauty. You gotta love it. So I ran into the nether, TNT in hand, ready to start blowing the hell out of the place. Get it? Hell, because it's fire and nether. Anyways, once I actually got in the nether, a creeper almost brought things to a very abrupt end, but I managed to escape death just in time. After that incident, I ran out a few hundred blocks and got to work on lining a massive area with TNT and set it all off. And well, after going down and tidying the place up and clearing up all the lava down there, I found a grand total of 0 ancient debris. So I tried it again just to the side of it, and yet again, absolutely nothing. So I decided the hell with it. I started strip mining at Y12 on the border of a chunk because, well, there's only a set amount of netherite you can get one chunk. So theoretically, mining on the border of 2 chunks should increase my chances of getting it. So yeah, I mined and mined in a straight line for quite a long time and found absolutely nothing. So I ran back to the beginning of my line and began a strip mine in hopes of that actually solving my netherite problems, but well, that did nothing too, so I mined out a few more hundreds of blocks, thinking that maybe I wasn't out far enough. And, well, I ended up stumbling across a nether fortress, so I worked my way over to it because I may as well grab some blaze rods whilst I'm in here. So once I got to the fortress, I immediately found a blaze spawner and began killing them. And after killing a good amount of them, I had enough blaze rods to get to the end, but before leaving the fortress, I wanted to go and grab some nether wart because, well, I need potions and I'm literally in a nether fortress, so I might as well do it now. After killing a couple wither skellies and looting a chest, I finally found the nether wart, so I looted it all up and then looted another chest and then got the hell out of there. Anyways, once I got out of the fortress, I once again began my search for ancient debris. And, well, I was definitely out far enough this time, so I began a new series of precisely planned out and precisely spaced strip mines underneath the bottom of the nether. And, well, to be fair, it's a good thing quartz exists because my pickaxe would have broken if not. But doing this neatly wasn't working out, so I decided to just start spamming my pickaxe all around, tearing up every bit of netherrack that I saw. And, well, soon enough after doing this, I found my first piece of ancient debris. And the more and more netherrack I tore up, the more and more ancient debris I found, until eventually I had enough to make a full set of armor and 1 tool. So I scurried my way out of my massive pit. I mean, just look at the size of this thing, it looks awful. And then I headed back home, repairing my pickaxe along the way. Once I got back home, I put all my ancient debris in the furnaces and started smelting it down, and then I went and re-enchanted my sword again, but yet again, it was absolutely trash. And then when I went to pull out my netherite scraps from the furnaces, I realized that I didn't have any gold to make them into netherite ingots. So one quick trip to the nether fixed that, and well, one quick armor repair later, and boom, we were now fully stacked netherite and feeling pretty good. So after spending such a long time in the Nether, I decided that I was going to go and check up on the villagers real quick and grab a couple of mending books to put on all my armor, so that I didn't need to worry about them breaking. Anyways, after putting them on my armor, I decided that I wanted to make a nether wart farm, but I wanted to make it out of red nether wood, which I had none of. So one other quick trip to the Nether, and I grabbed the red one specifically, and once I had enough, I returned home and began work on the farm that was going to come out as a similar style to the storage area, but instead of oak wood, it was red nether wood, and to be fair, I think this came out looking pretty nice. And after the farm was done, I cleared out the area next to it just to tidy things up and open things up a little bit more. Okay, so on day 70, we are now closing in on that 1.19 update, because we're now in 1.17 Caves and Cliffs. But not really, because 1.18 is the real Caves and Cliffs update. It gets a little bit confusing, so we're in 1.18 now, the true Caves and Cliffs update with the new ore textures, the new blocks, and mainly the massively taller and massively deeper worlds to explore. Oh, yeah, and this absolutely useless block. RIP Copper Golem, I miss you, my buddy. So, considering the fact that we're now on day 70, I decided to get myself in gear and start preparing for the end, so that we can kill the dragon ASAP. So, I once again headed back into the Nether to grab some gold to start trading with some piglins so that I can get some pearls from them. And, well, I was trading with this guy for like an hour. But finally I ended up with enough pearls to go to the end. So I returned home and it was dark and I was tired, so I stored away all my stuff and headed to bed. And now on the morning of day 74 I made my pearls into eyes and got to work on making some stuff for the potions and arranging it all in this chest here. Now, by this point, you know the drill. We need potions of health, potions of slow falling, and maybe potions of speed too, if we want to flex on the dragon a little bit. So I got to work on brewing them and upgrading them like we do every time, and boom, we're now ready to go and absolutely delete that dragon. So I set out in search of the stronghold. And well, as I traverse through this world, you can see the toll that the multiple updates must have taken on it, but it also looks kind of cool. Anyways, I approached an ocean, and then the eye told me to cross it, so I did. Until I came across this ice biome, and I thought that the eye told me to go down, but, well, I mined down and almost died of drowning from my own stupidity, because the eye did not tell me to mine down here. But a couple of eye throws later, and I found where I was supposed to go, so I mined down, and boom, there's the stronghold, and oh, would you look at that, there's the end portal. Also, this looks like a really weird stronghold. Like, I've never had an end portal room look like this before. But anyways, I killed the silverfish, lit the portal, and, well, made some last-minute prep before going in and fighting the dragon. But now it's time to go and kill a dragon. But this is nothing to compare to what's coming next. So let's just go in there and get this done, shall we? So jumping our way into the end, we run in there and we snipe out all the pillars with pinpoint accuracy. Definitely not heavily edited. Anyways, then we went for the dragon and, well, I definitely didn't get launched like 10 times trying to kill this thing. But eventually, one final boof with my axe and the dragon was no more. And well, that was a pretty quick dragon fight because it's not the star of this show. That's the Warden and he's coming later. Anyways, you all know what happens at this point. It's now elytra time, so I hopped in the portal and began the search, and well, it ended up taking me quite a bit of time, maybe 20-30 minutes, but eventually there was the beautiful end city with a ship shining off in the distance, so I headed over to it, dispatched all the shulkers from the front, and ran in. Once I reached the top, I popped a slow falling potion and bridged over to the ship, using a shulker to get aboard, as I usually do. Once I got aboard, I stole the potions and the elytra, and now it's time to head back. So I gracefully glided across the end, back to my portal, and returned to the main island, where I grabbed the egg and went home. Once I got back home, I made a shulker box and then chilled at the mob farm for the rest of the day to stack back up on gunpowder to make some fireworks for my newly found elytra. And on the following days, I grabbed my gunpowder out of the chest, grabbed some sugarcane and made myself some fireworks, so now I can fly around. So I guess that's nice. Anyways, enough of that, because we're going underground to hopefully find a massive cave under my house. So I ran down the mines and began going down to the new bedrock. And well, eventually I did hit bedrock and found absolutely nothing down there. So I returned to the surface and decided to fly over in the opposite side of where I spawned in search of a lush cave, because, well, I want some azaleas to decorate my area. And wow, the area the other side of spawn was really nice. I found 2 villages, some huge mountains, some lovely flowery hills. It was really nice over there, it was really nice. Anyways, after a while of flying deep into the night, I eventually found a lush cave a few thousand blocks away from my house, so I went down and started grabbing as many resources from here as I could carry. Oh, and there were also a lot of creepers down here. Anyways, I decided to go mine down deeper to see if there was a bigger cave underneath, and well, sure enough there was, and it was beautiful. Anyways, after grabbing a load of stuff, I headed back to the surface and began the journey back home. And on my way back, my elytra broke, so I guess we're swimming from this point. But luckily, land wasn't too far away, and I ended up getting back home later that day. Once I got back home, I planted down some flowers and some azaleas, and replaced some of the birch trees with them, and I also made a little area, like azalea garden thing, before going to bed. Okay, day 82. I literally just spent the entire day adding decorations and azaleas and all that good stuff around my house because, well, I wanted to have a lot of them, and, well, here's the end result. Alrighty, so in the following few days, I went and did some more trading for a mending book for my elytra, and once I had acquired said book, I put it on them and got to work repairing them by, you guessed it, trading. And well, it didn't take me long to repair them. After all that, I ran over to the snowy biome and grabbed a load of snowballs because, well, they're going to be good to use against the Warden. Anyways, I saw some unloaded chunks and decided to go and check them out, and, well, things looked quite cool and quite weird over here. But after looking around for a while, I went back home and began making some little quality of life improvements all around my area for the rest of the day, such as adding item frames to chests. And well, here we are peeps, 1.19. Let's go find ourselves an ancient city. Also, sorry, but there was no Optifine or shaders at the time we were recording this in the snapshot, so that kinda sucks, but it's okay. Anyways, I grabbed a load of coal and wood and set off in search of new chunks. After flying over an ocean for thousands of blocks, I spotted a little island out in the middle of it and decided that this was going to be where the search begins. So I mined down and, well, almost lost everything to falling down in this cave, but it's okay because I just ran away like a coward and regened and then continued on my journey, making my way through these larger-than-life caves in search of the ancient cities. But, well, I had absolutely no luck after searching literally like all the caves I could find in this area, so I decided to head back to the surface and tried heading out even further, and, well, after starting another mine and exploring caves for what felt like an absolute eternity, I finally got a glimpse of some skulk all the way down in the bottom of this massive pit. So I made my way down there to check it out, and, well, there was the city lying in wait. So I cautiously made my way further and further down until I was eventually inside the city. This is it now, there's no turning back. So I sneakily moved deeper and deeper inside of the city in search of those beautiful loot chests, and, well, I slowly moved past and destroyed as many sculpt blocks as I could see along the way until I found myself a chest, but it set off a shrieker. But luckily for me, no Warden just yet. So I wanted to take out the shrieker that made the noise, so being extremely careful with every move I made, I unfortunately couldn't find the one that screamed, and I wasn't about to go and try removing any that's in that cluster over there. So I decided to take the risk and open the chest. But luckily none heard it, so I bagged myself some loot and a new enchant. And then I decided to go and open a second chest, but didn't get as lucky this time, and they heard me, but luckily still no Warden. So I kept venturing deeper and deeper into the city, taking out as many shrieks as I could along the way and looting a few chests. But then, I broke one wrong block and, well, now he's here. I quickly ran as far away as I could and, well, I got a lucky escape. But for some stupid reason, I broke a candle and, well, here he is right in front of me. I threw a couple snowballs to try and get him off my tail, but he didn't seem super interested in them, and, well, I couldn't see a damn thing. So I started bridging myself away until eventually he went away for now. Okay, I'm not going to complain. Now, at this point, I wanted out of this city, but I wasn't going to leave until I killed this man. So I made myself a pillar and beat this man to death for a good solid minute before he finally fell. And well, now I can leave with the overall goal of killing the Warden now complete. It was quite easy. Granted that might change when the full release comes out, but for now, I killed him. Anyways, after my victory over the Warden, I made my way out of the cave and, well, started heading back home, which took me a whole day to get there. But once I got back, I stored some stuff away, gave my pickaxe efficiency 4, and put Swift Sneak on my boots, and, well, look at this, look how fast you go, whoa! I am on speedy boy. Whoa! So on the following couple days, I got up and decided to work on improving the mineshaft because, well, it hadn't got any love up until this point and it looked kind of crappy. So I went round and added a load of lanterns and a load of deep slate stuff to it, and boom, it looks nice and new and improved. You gotta love it, even though it still looks kind of crap. On day 97, I went and repaired my elytra and then headed out in search of a shipwreck. Why, you ask? Because I can. Anyways, I ended up finding one pretty quickly and grabbed myself a nice little treasure map, and when I checked it, I was already very close, so I swam over there and used a little trick with coordinates to find the treasure nice and easy. And it was some pretty nice treasure. Anyways, I headed back home and spotted a slime just outside my house, so I decided to bring him over and break it down, and then in the morning I went and grabbed a name tag from the villagers, but when I returned to name him, he wasn't there, so I made him a shoddy grave, fell into a depression, all because I lost my slime. R.I.P. Slippy, my friend, you will always be remembered. After losing my slime, I just sorted out my storage for the rest of the day. And on day 99, I finally removed the eyesore of a water elevator from the mob farm, and well, I just went around taking a nice walk through my area for the last time. And wow, we've really come so far in this 100 days, from being a super basic old version of the game, to having this pretty nice looking base being full kitted out with enchanted netherite. However, we don't have a pet slime named Slippy. However, do you know what we have done though? We have just survived 100 days in every major version of Minecraft. Once again, if you enjoyed this video and you would be so kind, then please consider dropping a like and subscribing because I greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're curious and you want to know what shaders and mods I use in my videos, then head over to the Discord and all the information you ever need will be in there. There'll be a link down in the description and in the top right of the screen right now. And if you want to stay up to date with everything to do with the channel and other things, then follow me on Twitter @Poppers. Yeah, it'll be linked in the top right and in the description below. But thank you all so much for watching. I love and appreciate you all so much, and I will see you all in the next video. Adios, peeps. Channel and other things, then follow me on Twitter @Poppers. Yeah, it'll be linked in the top right and in the description below. But thank you all so much for watching. I love and appreciate you all so much, and I will see you all in the next video. Adios, peeps.